No, it's not man's job to clean anything. I said at this point in time, it's man's job. What to do? She's not supposed to be dirty. The ocean is not supposed to be polluted. So in the advent that the ocean is polluted, then the man who is the problem solver of the two sexes must find some solutions. In the same way, if today women are distressed, who is going to solve the problem? Clearly, it's not society, because society doesn't have at heart anyone. It has its own agenda. So it must be, or in my humble opinion, in my experience, the man. But in order for the man to help the woman, he has to understand what's happening. He has to understand what's happening to himself. He has to understand what is happening to the woman in the different contexts, the social context, the dharma context, and at a bigger level, so that he can apprehend the situation. Now, I know people in the New Age and whatnot, and those people who, with their Magdalena and all of this stuff, and they will say that what I'm saying makes no sense. And because we're in different paradigms, we use similar words, but we are not at the same place, and we don't understand things the same way. So, because what they do, I've studied, I've gone into, and I'm sorry to say, well, not only is it not for me, but because over there the man is equal to the woman or beneath. The woman is the goddess and is to be celebrated, and everything is beneath her. There is no man in his right mind who's in his power that will accept to be equal to a woman or beneath a woman. A sane man who's healthy, conscious, and understanding will understand women and men are not equal. This one has her power, you have your power, wonderful. And then within society, or within the social order of men and women, there's an order to things. But over there in the New Age, So this is what I'm trying to say. You may confuse things. I'm telling you from my experience what I've discovered. And I also know that your average human being, your average man, will never want to be a New Age fellow, ever, because this is humiliating for a man. And the New Age people will say it's because you're closed of the heart and all this nonsense, as usual. This is their defense to everything. It's not possible that a man sees these feeble masculine figures who are looking like little dolls worshipping a woman but acting equal. It's not possible that they are absolutely repulsed by it because it's not masculine. No. So if your average man sees an image of a man and is not attracted to it, it's because there's something about it that's funny. So what I'm trying to say, just to sum it up, is that in my experience, men are the problem solver of the two sexes. And if man assesses, and it's his job to assess the situation, the current situation in the world, and what's happening, he will at some point also assess the situation of the woman. What's happening to her? Why is she this way? What's influencing her? And if he goes deep enough, and our friend Sigmund Freud, that some people love and some people detest, and his pupil Gustav Jung, who did this? They are doing this, and today they're quoted everywhere on Facebook, Instagram as these maybe not Freud, but these great understanders of the psyche and the female psyche. Of course, they were particularly interested in female psyche because the woman is very in tune with the psyche. So it's much more interesting and easy in a way to explore her psyche because she's receptive to it. So of course they looked into this and they found all kinds of answers. In fact, I've read lots of psychologists, not necessarily a surface compartment. What is it? Those who study behavioral psychologists, not just those at the surface, those who went a little deeper. There's a few of those. Obviously, they're going to be Germans and whatnot, and they're generally men, and they have an interest to probe into the psyche of women and discover what's going on. I'm telling you, there's a natural affinity for men to solve problems, and if he looks at the situation today, he will see, well, something's happening to her. Who's going to help her? She's clearly, obviously unable to help herself. Now, I don't want to offend anyone, but you just look around. There's a reason she's unable to help herself. Because it's not her nature. The woman, adapts to her environment. So if you put a woman in a red space, she becomes red. If you put a woman in a blue space, she becomes blue. If a woman is taken by these people, she becomes the reflection of these people. It is not in her nature to fight or rebel against an authority figure, a real authority figure, not a pseudo-authority figure like the man today, the one who actually controls. In our case, let's say we simplify and we call it the system. She will not look who's leading charge towards this new world order. Who is doing it? It is the woman, because it's her nature. She is subservient to the authority. Men who are in the least bit masculine have a rebellious nature, question things, push against things. Sometimes they're anal and pricks and all this. So I'm not saying no, but I'm saying a sane man. He will, of course, say, what is this nonsense? And so this is why we have to reduce them to rebels to avoid any conflict. And what better way to reduce man, besides brainwashing him, but to make the woman hate him and attack him psychologically and disregard him, to go straight to his manhood? So what's happening in the world is a complex affair. The point of what I'm trying to say is, if we don't lose our track, is that it's my humble opinion, and it's also my experience. And it's not to say that women cannot help women. It's to say, well, you need something to start it. So some people may disagree. I've looked around, I've seen what's there, and I've also been placed in a particular position, and I'm telling you, so if there's other things and it works for you, good for you, enjoy. But there's no way in hell that a woman, let's say a woman is lost her way, who will set her straight? This is so offensive, but I'm telling you, another woman who's herself as confused, or another psychotic woman who wants to destroy her, or somebody who really has her at heart, which is the man. But that man has to be in a position of power within himself, within life, to be able to assist her and literally set her straight. And how he will do this? He has to literally remove the poison from her psyche and her body. How else? What do we do? And then maybe now this man can eventually, when these women start to grow in power and reclaim their integrity, then they can be of assistance to other women. So if we look, let's say this goes on for a few years, you will say women are teaching other women, which is of course much more efficient to a certain degree and natural. Yeah, but it couldn't start this way. Now, I'm telling you, I know this New Age people and their fantasies about womanhood, and I've met those people also. This is not a disrespect, I have to say it, but I know people, they get offended by everything. No, they're like cuckoo. They live in the fantasy of the goddess, they live in the fantasy of the women's spirituality, they live in the fantasy of things. And fantasy also gives a lot of power. So I'm not interested in fantasy. I'm not interested. Listen, you go into the New Age world and you go see these men and women things, right? It's always about one thing, the woman meeting the man of her dreams. This is literally Cinderella applied to spirituality. And the weak man who's in a state of confusion, who's also looking for the woman of his dreams. Oh. So this is funny. So as long as you're stung by this disease, this may make sense to you. When you start to reclaim yourself as a man, you start to discover, listen, dude, you're on your own. Woman of your dream, this is total nonsense. It's not to say you cannot have love. You must have love. The heart of man is to be filled with love. Love for his brother, love for his sister, love for his mother, love for his father, love for his community, love for society, love for the people who don't have the capacity to fend for themselves, love for everyone. And then, of course, he may love a woman, he may love multiple women, he may love all the women. Love cannot be in the man confined to one little person. This is ridiculous. This is not a man. This is a confused creature who's looking for mommy. And this one, they want to call this, what do they call this? Twin soul and all of this. Who comes up with this? Listen, and I know, don't say I don't know what it is. I've met women and I'm in relation with different women and I have love for them and there's a special relation with them. Yeah, but if the girl leaves, my life goes on. Like, with all due respect, I can appreciate her and love her. My life goes on because my life is moved by something more great than one individual or one woman. But the whole concept of this oneitis is what the one. It's that your life is full and complete with her. And so do you see? And does this mean that in life you will not meet partners, a partner or multiple partners, or I don't know, right? Which will work or collaborate in parallel with you to achieve what you have to achieve? No, I didn't say that. But your worship is not her. Your worship is the current of life. And the current of life provides the resources, and in this case, it may be a woman, it may be other partners, men, women, whatever it is, so that you accomplish your thing. But it's not her. You don't elevate her and then spend your life with her in this MDMA-like trip of love. This is not love, this is intoxication. I've lived this, I know exactly what it is. It's not for me. This is boring. It's very small, and I like big things, and I like things that are ever expanding. And this form of love, I find very, very little. It's fun. I lived it. It's great for a couple of hours, a week, a month or two, a year. But then it becomes suffocating because it's too small for the man. The man wants more. And then I tell you also, the woman gets bored. Because what kind of man is so, sticky to me? Anyways, all this to say, in my humble opinion, if you look at the current events, if you look at the world, if you look at the things, and if we're really honest, which is a dangerous thing in nowadays, men are always the ones who come up with, who create, are the inventors, the researchers, the discoverers, because it's their nature. So what would make it different that they're the researchers of psychology? They are. And the researchers of the psyche? They are. And the researchers of the mysteries? They are. They've always been. So, and they're also the ones who have this natural inclination. It's not to say that there's not a few women here and there who have also a similar interest. I'm not denying this. I'm saying it's uncomparable. Okay? Incomparable, something like this. Men's nature, but man's nature has been subjugated, so we don't know anymore. It's getting confused, but it's his nature to look around and see, but what's happening? Look at her. Does this creature today seem to be able to help herself? No. Because she's under the influence of a power. And that power is her master. So we can call it the system, we can call it society, we can call it whatever you want. Let's not go so deep, but it's a power that rules. It is her God because it is that power that is superior and more powerful and provides shelter, security, and direction for her. She is on her knees in front of this power, and the man is a little nothing for her. It's nothing but a prop that she can use. And this has been the case for a long time. When there was this whole Christian missionary, who was in charge? It was the church, represented by the priest, who was the real husband of the woman. And the actual husband, the one who lives with her, it's just the fool who goes to work and repeats. And this is not to say that she did something bad. I'm just bringing things in context. This is not new. So a sane man is a man who starts to understand what is happening and is able to diagnose the problem and the disease in the world. And this is complex, as we've discussed multiple times. It's not just at the surface. You need to understand metaphysics and you need to understand the occult, that means what's invisible, in order to have a full sense of what's happening. And if you don't feel like this, it will take you into somewhat the realm of so-called conspiracy theories, which I don't want to, I'm not an advocate of it, I have nothing against this, but I don't want to speak about this because you cannot verify most of the things for yourself. What do you know that they are doing rituals or not? You will never know. You can believe it. It can make sense to you, but you cannot verify. But the occult, you can verify for yourself. You can just go study inside yourself, dive in, and you'll have access to the data for yourself. You will know. So unless you can dive into this in the realms of the subtle, which is in the underlying reality, how then can you understand what's happening in the world and the condition that we are in? And for the man to understand that he is a slave, and he has been a slave for a long time, God knows how long. Look now, all our favorite men who we worship or we adore, they are the top of society. This is Jay-Z. Or characters like this. Now I have nothing against this fellow, I don't care. I'm just saying. So these are the grand men, as I've mentioned, and I continue to mention, and will continue to mention. What is it if he's not a... He says in his own song, I don't know, I forget something OJ, the case of OJ, or the story of OJ. He goes and he names all the things, and then he says, still jigger. Meaning, at the end of the day, nothing's changed. I'm exactly the same. I'm still jigger. If you don't know what a jigger is, put an N in front, and that's exactly what he says. So we can interpret it in so many ways, but we can also clearly interpret it as like, no, look, I'm at the top, I'm a multi-billionaire, my wife and I are at the top, but what's changed? Nothing. We're at the same place, but very rich. So people who want to ascend society become what? Their jail cell is made of gold. The commoner's jail cell is made of iron or cardboard boxes. Shit. Yes, but this one, he lives on top of a hill and he has all the greatness in his palace. Yeah, but still a jail. So your average person today has a hard time to understand or fathom how the world functions, even though they've watched videos about the Illuminati. It doesn't click. They haven't realized it for themselves. They just watch TV. And somehow it resonates with something deep in them, but they don't know. They haven't figured it out. But your average person wants to ascend the social ladder in the hope of becoming a person of power, having access to other people of power, and hopefully even gaining even more power. But all of this is in a closed system that has limits and plateaus. You cannot go further than this. And as soon as, it doesn't matter, if you're here and you go here, what do you realize? I'm in a jail, there's something controlling me. If you happen to be, for some reason, you're able to go here, then you realize, what? I'm stuck here because there's a plateau, there's those who are here, I'm in a jail here. If you happen, because it will not happen necessarily that you're selected, you can go here, it's always the same, so you're always in a jail, which means that somehow, some way, this entire system is held and controlled by a force or an intelligence. Let's not give it a name, and let's not speak about its representatives. But this is what it says. So which means what? At whatever level it is, the woman is subservient to that authority. Actually, and the man also, except the man is unable to accept his situation and is all the more deluded. Because it's in his nature to rebel, it's in nature of the woman to adapt and then become the woman of this intelligence. The man will not become the man of that intelligence. So he has to delude himself one step further so that he is not hurt in his deepest ego or masculinity to realize that he's nothing but a slave. Not only is he a slave, he is slave of an intelligence, the system intelligence, and he's even beneath the woman that he has always imagined or wanted to pretend that he's superior to, because in a couple of for certain centuries and whatnot, in the creation of this system, he was put in so-called charge. He was not in charge. He was just the priest, and he was a bitch of the system as well. But, he cannot accept. This is my prerogative. Do your research and figure it out for yourself. You will see what I mean. And this is nothing against women or against the men. This is not to disrespect anybody. It's just to say, if you grasp what I'm saying, you'll understand. And it's unfortunate that people are so delusional and their instinct of death is activated. So fear, greed, attachment, ego, and lust are always on, and they're motivated by these forces, which is just exactly like the animal. It's a survival instinct to survive. So you lose sense of what's going on, even if you believe you're intelligent, and at some point you have a sense. The proof is, those who rise, at the end of the day, they're not stupid. Those who get to succeed, they are not. They understand. Everybody who succeeds starts to understand this is a system. And somebody runs a system, and I'm limited in my capacity to rise. And they say, okay, they become complacent. Look, I might as well be very rich and enjoy what's there to be enjoyed. Yeah, but there's nothing to be enjoyed. And they have not necessarily understood this. Anyways, I digress. The point is, as it says so clearly in the Bible, one cannot serve two masters. Either you serve God, what is God is another subject, or you serve money, aka the system. This is very clearly said. You cannot serve two masters. Either you serve God, whatever God is a conversation to be had, but in my book, God is the current of life, dharma, that intelligence, or you serve money, which is the currency of the system. It says so clear. This is such a powerful sentence. It's so profound. Of course, your average person will understand it in whatever way they want, but to really go through this and look into it and really go deep, it's necessary an invitation that everybody should receive and open the email of.